Welcome to Learning Adda. The invisible man with the worst timing. There was a man named Nick, an ordinary guy with an extraordinary problem. One day, something strange happened to him. Nick discovered he could turn invisible, but there was one big problem: it only worked at the worst possible times. Whenever he wanted to stay visible, he would disappear, and when he wished to become invisible, he remained perfectly seen. Nick first noticed his power at work. He was in an important meeting, standing in front of his boss and his team. He had prepared for days, ready to give his best presentation. As he stood to speak, something strange happened. His hands began to fade. Then his arms, his legs, and soon, his entire body disappeared. "Where did he go?" his boss asked, looking confused. Nick tried to speak, but no one could hear him. He was completely invisible. The meeting continued without him. When he finally turned visible again, the meeting was over, and his boss was not happy. "That was your big chance, Nick. Where did you disappear to?" his boss asked. Nick didn't know what to say. He couldn't tell his boss the truth. It was just too strange. He had no control over his new ability. Embarrassed, Nick quickly left the office. The next day, Nick hoped his invisibility would not cause more trouble. He decided to go out with his friends for a night at the movies. They were all having fun, laughing and chatting as they entered the theater. Just as the movie was about to start, Nick felt it again. His body was fading. Right in the middle of the crowded theater, he disappeared into thin air. His friends looked around, confused. "Nick? Where did you go?" they whispered, but Nick was already gone. He spent the entire movie invisible, sitting in his seat, unable to enjoy anything. As soon as the movie ended, he reappeared right in front of everyone, causing people to scream in surprise. "Nick, you're like a ghost," one friend said, laughing nervously. Nick didn't find it funny at all. His new power was becoming more and more inconvenient. Over the next few days, Nick tried to figure out why this was happening. Every time something important or embarrassing occurred, he would vanish. He turned invisible during a wedding when he was supposed to give a speech. He disappeared while trying to pay for groceries at the store, leaving the cashier staring at floating money. He even vanished on a date with a girl he liked, right when they were about to take a photo together. "I just don't understand," Nick thought, frustrated. His power seemed completely useless. One day, Nick was invited to a big family reunion. He didn't want to go, fearing that his invisibility would cause more problems. But his family insisted, so he went. As soon as he arrived, his aunt asked him to help serve food. As he carried a big tray of drinks, his hands started to fade again. "No, not now," Nick thought, panicking. But it was too late. He disappeared, leaving the tray of drinks floating in midair. The entire family stared in shock as the tray tipped over, spilling drinks everywhere. "Nick, what are you doing?" his mother shouted. Nick turned visible again, standing in the middle of the mess. His face turned bright red as everyone laughed. It was the worst moment yet. Finally, Nick decided he needed help. He went to visit an old friend, a scientist named Dr. Clara. She had studied strange abilities before and might have answers. When he explained his problem, Clara nodded thoughtfully. It sounds like your power is connected to stress, she said. The more nervous or uncomfortable you feel, the more likely you are to disappear. Nick was surprised. So, what can I do? Clara smiled. You need to learn to relax. Stay calm, and your power won't control you. Nick wasn't sure it would work, but he decided to give it a try. He started practicing meditation and deep breathing. The next time he was in an awkward situation, he stayed calm and focused on his breathing. Amazingly, he didn't disappear. Slowly, Nick gained control of his power. He learned to stay visible when it mattered most, even during stressful moments. Although his power still acted up from time to time, he was able to laugh it off. After all, being invisible wasn't all bad, he just had to make sure it happened at the right time. Nick's life became a little easier, and he learned that sometimes the best way to handle a tricky situation is to stay calm and go with the flow. And if he ever turned invisible again, at least he was ready to laugh about it. Thank you for watching.